Tocaron hasta después la vuelta. They played even after death. El dolor lo mató. The sorrow killed him. Las mentiras lo mató. The lies killed him. La curva de sus labios lo mató. The curve of her lips killed him. Los cigarros lo mató. The cigarettes killed him. Reza por ellos los perdidos. Pray for them, the lost ones. Mátame si quieres. Kill me if you want. Su hermosura para mi corazón también. Her beauty stops my heart as well. Mi dama precioso dejaron tu cuerpecito en la calle. My precious lady, they left your little body in the street. Y entonces el fuego advertió, yo estoy aquí. And then the fire warned, I am here. Solamente cuando la capa alrededor el uniforme verde fue hecho de dogales. Only when the cape around the green uniform was made of nooses. 1,000 dogales, 2,000 dogales, 4,000 dogales, 1,000 nooses, 2,000 nooses, 4,000 nooses. Lo fue la tempestad del fuego de inocentes perdidos que mandóse del racismo. It was the firestorm of innocence lost, burning from racism. Reza por ellos los perdidos. Pray for them, the lost ones. La guitarra toca la canción de lágrimas por los perdidos. The guitar plays the song of tears for the lost ones. En las sombras del 4,000 dogales vergonzosas. In the shadows of 4,000 shameful nooses. Sombras de la migra, shadow capes of la migra. Cuando uno muere, una nueva fea capa blanca aparece. As each one dies, a new, ugly, white cape appears. La migra, escucho sus anuncios en el radio. La migra, I hear your advertisements on the radio. Dices unete y lucha contra los terroristas. You say, join us and fight terrorists. Y otro dogal se aprieta alrededor de garganta de otro inocente, and one more noose tightens round the throat of one more innocent. Inmigrantes en su propia tierra, immigrants in their own land. Y yo soy con ellos, un inmigrante en mi propia tierra, and I am one with them, an immigrant in my own land. La migra, tú no proteges la libertad causando muertes de inocentes. La migra, you don't protect freedom by causing deaths of innocents. Reza por ellos, los perdidos. Pray for them, the lost ones. Tú eres el terrorista con su capa de dogales. You are the terrorists with your cape of nooses. You tear the veil that separates los perdidos from this world and the next. But you are the ones who are lost behind your mask of muertos. Reza por ellos, los perdidos. Pray for them, the lost ones. Reza por ellos. Ellos mueren por tu culpa. Pray for them. They die because of you. Pero los perros ricos del norte vienen la cola, que es la migra. Reza por ellos, los enfermos también. But the wealthy northern dogs wag their tails, which is la migra. Pray for them, the sick as well.
Yeah.
I need you more than you need me. Y'all keep me sane. Welcome to Second Sunday Jihmye Poetry. We are an open mic that's been going on for 10 years. Can we get some love for Frank, the owner, who made our gym going? How quick William is our gym master today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's do a little housekeeping. Poets have 2 poems or 10 or 5 minutes. And we might have some musicians showing up on Zoom today. I owe them some money, so they're going to come. And so if you're a musician and you're here to play some music, you have 2 songs for 10 minutes. If you need to use the restroom, it's back here. And I need to do a little sound check with our Zoom people. Yay, Olga is here. Our teacher is here. Let's give her some love. Olga, can you count to 5 for us so we make sure we have good sound?
Hello. Good afternoon.
So I think you might be muted. Can you unmute yourself and count to 5?
Would you listen to me now? Is it okay? Can you listen to me? Or like this? Is it better? Is it better?
Good now.
John Myers, can you count to 5, please? Welcome,
1,
John.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, it should be working. I
Hello?
put music through here already.
Is it okay?
Okay, bear with us, folks. We're gonna have to do a little more technology. Yes.
Should I use like a speaker, an extra speaker?
So,
Go ahead, talk again.
we'll count to 5 again, please.
Like an extra speaker would be better, like this speaker? Would it be look?
No, just okay. Please be quiet. Just give us a sec here. Frank, I hear it through the laptop, but when I plug it up here, it's not coming through.
Let me see here. Do it again.
Okay, go ahead and speak for a moment, please.
Hello? Hello? Can you?
Now, when I
Hola?
plug it into the loudspeaker, it's not coming through.
Was it coming through at first?
So if I remember last time we plugged up we just had the microphone here. Now that's working, so I can hear it through here. But when I plug this up, I can't hear it. And the thing is that we tried it earlier, and I played some music through it, and it played fine. So I don't know what's going on.
Play music to it one more time.
Okay, just a second, guys.
So while they're working on that, we have an author's table over here. Jimmy Collins wanted us to support the artist community. I'll be talking about the art that's on the walls and the painters that you can get in touch with if you see some art that you like. Jimmy Collins did this mural over here. And we think the spirit is always with us when we're here together.
Well, now I'm not hearing it.
So we'll if you have a book or a CD and you want to put on the author's table, please do so. And I want to ask everyone if you'd like to support our artists. Please do.
Just go back to the Zoom.
Hello?
Say something.
Say something, please.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, we got it.
Hello?
Yeah, we're good. We have you.
Hey,
Great.
people, we can hear you. Can we give Olga some more love for coming on Zoom? She is out in the ether, drying out, I would assume. I hope it's not real wet where you are, and we love you and thank you for coming. All right, so let me talk a little bit about Jimmy Collins, please. He was a Black Panther back in Indianapolis back in the day. And one of the things that was very important for him when we discussed about putting this together was I told him no first. And we were over at the big kitchen. And I don't want to deal with all those personalities. He says, no, brother, we're hungry for a community. So this community, if you look around the room, most of us have been doing this here or at the Cafe Cabaret on Adams for the last 10 years. This has been ongoing. And it just keeps me sane. I have an elder from the Chumash tribe that tells me, you're watching too much news. You got to go outside and talk to a crow, talk to the hummingbirds, talk to your plants, because you're watching too much news. And I just invited a couple of my sister friends to go get some tea this week because of what's going on the news. It's just, I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm never sick and tired of you. You are my America. This is my America here today. Thank you for coming. Give yourself some love for coming out today. And so I think we got all the housekeeping done. If you haven't had anything to eat yet, we got the best deli in La Mesa. Coffee, tea, beer and wine, etc., etc. So please avail yourself, support the establishment because they've been supporting us for 10 years. And let's see what we got. The first time this woman came to my class over at San Diego Writers Inc., I thought, well, this is not my student. I think she's smarter than me, number one. Steve Cowett used to talk about that. He couldn't call his people that came to his workshop his students. They're all smarter than him. But she's a beautiful, beautiful sister of poetry. And I love it when she comes to my workshops. I think you're going to look for, this is Lisa Breaking.
Jim, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Where's your sign sheet?
To be welcome. It's like when we first discovered fire. Now we're warm in all seasons. Every meal is a
I don't know
feast.
why it's doing that.
And nighttime is just when we go dancing.
But we don't
To
have
be
worry about
welcome
that, do
is to
we?
find the sun
just
in
eat.
another person's face. To see him find his own beauty reflected in yours. And to learn that community is a house that gives comfort. Still, if you have known of double-edged welcomes, you may wonder, what's the catch? Must I serve the right gods? Does it depend on my solvency? On reciprocity? Or how long I've lived here? Must I be tall, skinny, over 21, under 60 to be welcome? Do my tits have something to do with it? Or might rejection come because we use the word tits? Is it my personal hygiene or mental fitness? Do you actually know who you let sit in your radiator warmth with good eye contact and a smile to the hostess? In my soul, coyote lurks on the conversation's edge, waiting to snatch a muffin or a cup of coffee or a word of validation and head for the hills. You know what makes me feel welcome? A porta potty. Take a run through a golf course. Acres of manicured green, 4-story villas with their backs turned on you, not a decent bush in sight. And they're like sunrise, a humble plastic box. Bad smell, cold seat, and 1-ply paper. That's when you know everyone is welcome. Nathaniel knows what I mean. He lives on South San Francisco Street with a missing leg and hands that shake so that he can't hold the ragged 5 he wants to trade for a ham on white at the gas station where they don't let him in. What a world we'd make by welcoming Nate with all the joy we give July 1st monsoon, or a newborn baby, which surely isn't any more pungent or troublesome than he is. If we could just say, bienvenidos, ya Baruch haba, Koanying, Yokoso, Karibu, Belina. So good to see you, dude. This is called Today When. Today, like a sapling burst through a crack in burning asphalt. Like the discovery of new species we just exterminated. Like your childhood home burned down or washed away. Today, when all the old words are wrong, when your daughter's tattoos threaten to erase her, when even the clothing label printed directly on the fabric seems cause for despair. Today, with shoes that don't fit, trying to catch a bus in a strange city, like putting a brave face on, but it tears, or seeing through the eyes of a refugee. Today, like the dog that was your father's just died, like washing up on rocks that weren't there before, or like finding out too late you loved your enemies after all.
Yeah. Get some more love for Lisa, please. John Myers, are you reading today?
Yes, I have a work in progress I'd like to share.
Are you ready to read, sir?
Sure.
So let me say a couple words about him. He used to be here 10 years ago, and Jimmy was alive, and we enjoy each other's company. He's a professor emeritus now from San Diego State. I love the way he writes poetry. Give some love for John Myers.
Thank you, Jim. It's just a short piece called Silent Agony. I glance in disbelief above the signs they hold, their faces straining to smile and cheer for a man who's blind to what they need, a tyrant who's just as soon escort them back to a time when they were less than dirt, a time when they would lose a foot and still be forced to plow the earth in Mississippi heat, a man who tolerate their nappy heads and charcoal skin to win a victory. I want to believe that hunger forces men like them to overlook the prejudice amidst the loud and celebratory chants that old newspapers covered their rigid rumps. Why else be known as blacks for Donald Trump?
John, do you have another one for us, or is that it?
Oh, that was it. That's a work in
Oh, man.
progress.
That's John Myers, who give us more love, please. John Myers.
You sure you don't have anything else?
And we have a gentleman coming up to the microphone next who is about ready to become a septuagenarian. Did I say that right? Please welcome a man who taught history for 2 millennia. This is Chris Ernest Nelson.
Here we are.
Thank you for that applause. It was really easy. getting to be 70.
Was it really? So,
It was very like sliding on a wet pavement. Poetry is a magic language. I am Chris Ernest Nelson, and this is I Heard the Voice of God. Don't tell me the word of God. Show me. There is no sacred cave where truth is trumpeted by an appointed angel, no whirlwind to shout. Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? I heard the voice of God myself and saw his face. I heard him sing in the confidence of laughter. I saw his radiant face in every act of kindness. I sat in utter stillness as his fire burned away all the lies of self as God. I lifted my hands in praise of his word that spoke the truth of the one living thing. He will comfort me as I approach the holy temple. When I fear the loss of will, I see the glory of heaven in the street, in the solitary body that turns to death for repose. Death is welcome. Death, the body falling away, unnoticed. And life, undiminished, forever racing forward into relentless light. Down the dark ladder, up the golden stairs.
Would you like to go up next? Sure.
Long, long into the devolving night, as darkness steals your breath away, and gnawing fire thrills a thirst for atmospheres of rescue and repose. An aching regret for things done wrong or left undone burns through the soul like a funeral pyre, and ashes fall like accusing snow. Down, down the ladder of imagination, through tangles of eager crimes and vile fantasies that lead to where your story has been etched by spiteful trolls into the altar of hell's unholy temple. So dark, so deep, there is nothing deeper nor more beguiling to wicked things, nothing darker nor suffocatingly lonely. No, there is light and elevation in you. God is there. The worthy and the wicked are not alone. You are brought forth out of chaos. You pass over the terrifying void. You enter the exuberant garden. And together with angels, you will reach the golden stairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Olga, Jimmy, and I talked about how it's important to let half the poets warm up the room for the feature. So we'll be, when you hear Janice Halper's name, that's when you'll be next, and I'll introduce you, because that'll be about half of our poets. And so I wanted to give you that courtesy, so in case you were feeling some pins and needles, all right? All right, here we go. So, this next brother is someone who can sing to us, can play the guitar for us, but boy, can he read poetry. This is Jack S. Smith. And he gave me this mic stand for my birthday.
We go to that gentleman right there. Right there. Go, yeah.
Hello, family.
Next
I'm Jack Smith. I love you all.
Love you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This poem is Headless Child. My love, my sweet, sweet, precious little one. There lies your crumpled remains. Your pretty, sparkly red shoes and knee-high stockings that had also become dark red as your body bled and your spirit flew away. From a distance, I imagined I was seeing roses and gave thanks that such beauty could exist in such a sad place. I had to stop when your image became clearer. Unbelief held me captive, but my love for you made me draw near. Numbness removed all sense of time. How could this be? Where was your God, my tiny child, when fate showed such an evil hand? I hear your laughter now, only in vacant memories. I am forever changed. And though the earth continues spinning, I look inside myself, searching for answers, and I found just one. We live on the surface of a fragile planet. Some humans run chaotically, while others live for peace. Some will find love, and some will deny it. For every person that gets kicked in the ribs, there stands a willing person to do the kicking. Choices. But you were so young, your demise was decided for you, an innocent victim living in a war. As you sang your song, you smiled and danced, making my heart so full. Your last preference was simply to wear your pretty, sparkly red shoes. Thank you. Kneeling. He knelt and wept, her daughter by her side, precious child, sick with fever, listening to her mother ask for healing, pleading to an invisible God. She lifted her eyes toward the sky and gave thanks, then asked little Sweetness if she would like to pray. And with gentle eyes of an angel, the tiny girl whispered, please heal our village, teach angry people to love, and also to hold. He then told her daughter, perhaps you can think of a smaller prayer, maybe one to make you feel better. You are so young, so tiny, I think a small prayer will do. Little Sweetness smiled and looked at her mama. I'll stick with the one I had, and added, please do it soon. She shook her head and lifted her little one, starting to walk back home. Sweetness smiled at her mama once more, and the ground began to quake.
Thanks, Jan. Was that first poem written to the lady sitting beside you, or is that something else?
Yeah. My wife Lonnie?
Can we give Lonnie some love, please? I'm holding you probably on set. I know. So, Doc, this is your first time with us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's give a warm second Sunday love. Welcome to Doc Williams. How y'all doing today?
This first poem I'm gonna do is entitled Fog on the Mountain. Fog on the mountain. Church, for my soul, I'll keep this peace with me so I can find my way back. Like a ghost haunting its favorite place when alive. A bee revisiting its hive. Simply nothing less than the flock going home to nest when winter storms brew. It's true. Am I worthy to rejoin the light from which I came? Is fog on the mountain not the same? This next and last poem is entitled 911. At 8:45 a.m. on that clear September day, the first plane hit the North Tower and America was in dismay. 2,997 lost, 6,000 battered and bruised. As the dust was settling, we knew who'd stand accused. As the buildings were crumbling and rubble was filling the space, I watched a man leap to his death. I could not see his face. I wonder if the Christians and Buddhists stayed apart or huddled and prayed together like one beating heart. I'd like to thank Steinberg and Muhammad, who never saw eye to eye, shake hands and forgive each other, and we all know why. And the black woman from HR who detested whites from the South. Lord, forgive me, and those who hate me are the last words out of the mouth. I have come to a conclusion, and this is crystal clear. The closer we get to God, our differences disappear. Yeah.
Whatever Jimmy is right now, he's smiling because you're here. Please keep coming every second Sunday. Come and talk to us. Yeah, give him some more love, please. Very nice. If you will notice the little sign on my right, Jimmy was very clear with me in that first conversation about what this is all about. That is from the Beat Museum in San Francisco. I went up there last year on my birthday and gave myself a birthday present of watching the Warriors play and going to the Beat Museum and going to City Lights, if you all know what that's all about with Ferengeti. And so all races, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities, welcome to Second Sunday. You're all welcome. First time I heard this poet, we were at a John Fox workshop up in North County, and she was very quiet and we talked back and forth. We were sitting on the same sofa together, and then she got up and she read, and I couldn't believe the power of her poetry. Please welcome a poet that writes from her heart. She's a poet of the truth, and she's one of my favorite feminists. This is Bobby Jean.
Yeah, I think that's good. I'll kind of stumble up here. I've been in a viral assault. I got influenza A and I was pretty damn sick with it. And then I got shingles. So I'm like so happy to be here. I'm just coming point where I can be in the world again. Anyway, welcome back. Yeah, thanks. This is a poem I wrote a couple of years ago, and I revise a lot. I just do. I have to. But anyway, this is called More Than a Tent. Withstanding wind and rainstorms, the quick hand of summer monsoons. It shifted without collapsing, a model for our fledgling relationship. How we squabbled as we set up our mustard-colored home, housed in a weighty bag, with an arsenal of bad tempers and niggling lacks of confidence. We dumped the 9 aluminum poles on a chosen spot, coaxing from memory the chain of assembly for our canvas shelter. It was a ritual of bickering cooperation, which we repeated for countless camping trips, always with a flood of success as the tent rose upright, wavering, waiting for our next moves, the dance of taut love, each in our corners as we lifted vertical poles to their feet. The tent standing in anticipation, you picked up the hatchet that doubled as a hammer. I scanned the hard dirt, looking for the pouch of stakes, then handed them to you one by one. If the ground resisted, you pounded harder, driving each peg into a loop's tiny mouth. Then the sun shone. It might have been shining for hours, but now its light blossomed on our faces. Here was our earliest mutual commitment, the first shelter we owned, and in the end, the one we loved best. And this is my latest poem, which I kind of pulled out of all the virus stuff. It's not about the virus, but it's called Socks. It didn't occur to me a day would come when I no longer shake out my dad's boxer shorts, sun-dried on our backyard line, nor feel the thin cotton and worn elastic waistbands, or fold the shorts, undershirts, sheets, and fraying towels. Laundry, my bailiwick, amongst other teen chores, offered this routine, matching and slipping one clean sock mate into the other, then moving on to drape dad's white long-sleeve shirts over coveted wire hangers, sourced from our cleaners. The sure rhythm of the Kenmore washer played like muzak, the way it spun off key and rocked to a stop, water spilling with a sudden rush into the tub, cycles I could depend on during those often ragged years. Then came the cadence of hugging baskets of damp clothes out a back door, painted green and marred like the skin of an overripe pear, as I headed for my personal ground zero, a rotating clothesline with its forever wobble. Funny how ingrained it became, turning the basket lengthwise to fit through the doorway, then pausing to pull the door closed. Mother was a stickler about letting flies in. The clothesline stood like a loosely sketched outpost on an upper level of yard where I could see freewheeling clouds show off with a freedom mocking my short on excitement life. Here I was, picking through the rusty tin can of clothespins with an eye to estimating space on the line. I economized by using one pin to join 2 damp pieces. We seldom bought packages of pins from the military commissary. I made do with good ones before rummaging in the can for missing springs. I fixed those with lopsided clasps, slipped springs back onto others with separated prongs, unlauded for my mechanical ingenuity. No one certified me for my laundry skills, knowing when to add bleach, not mixing whites with colors or linens with street clothes, drilled on the perils of lint. I knew from experience the havoc it could bring to black cotton clothing. I received no trophy like my friend's bowling dad for my knack at assessing the heaviness of a load so our machine wouldn't lurch into a shimmy and a shake. I admit to mistakes, my mind not always on the task, shrinking a few wool sweaters meant to be hand washed in cool water. And I know now with regret what I couldn't know then, in my zeal to grow up and leave home, how lucky I was to be of use. My shoes pressed on a crushed patch of leaves, the sky above like a canvas for unbridled metaphor. I can credit those clothesline moments as fuel for a poetic future when I shifted between dreams and grit, the flap of sheets, snap of towels. It was a fragile beginning, a tiny pearl of possibility, submerged in the mud of family conflicts and youthful angst. I hadn't counted on the arrival of a day when I'd never see my parents again, or search the washer tub for dad's missing nylon stretch sock, shake out those last grains of detergent from a battered box of Tide, grains for poetic words, born in the suds and aborted rinse cycles on those overcast days when nothing would dry.
Let's give her some more love, please. Jean. If you walked in after we got started, this is a poetry and musicians open mic. We don't have any musicians today. But if you're interested in coming up here and reading a couple of poems, please wave at me and I'll come over and you can sign up. Because we're all Altarians here. So everybody gets to read if you want to. Our next poet is a Navy veteran like myself. The ships that he was on had the poles like this. So he was like, the ships he was on were like a Concorde SST to me. The ship I was on had a hole like this, so we were real slow. This is David Legenhorst. David.
Thank you, Jim. You forgot to mention that the ship was made out of wood. This is a poem by Billy Collins that I really like, so I'd like to share this one. It's Introduction to Poetry. I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to a light, like a color slide, or press an ear against its eye. I say drop a mouse into the poem and watch him probe his way out. Or walk inside the poem's room and feel the walls for a light switch. I want them to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore. But all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with a rope and torture a confession poet. They begin by beating it with a hose to find out what it really means. Billy Collins. First one is mine. What a day. I think that I woke up dead this morning. No covers. My dogs are not curled up next to me. Aspen the cat is not snuggled against my leg. I don't seem to have a body, but I still have my senses. That's odd. So what am I? Where am I? Perhaps some kind of quantum particle or force. There is light, but it's not sunlight, moonlight, or twilight. Otherworldly, perhaps. Maybe I've slipped into another dimension or a parallel universe. No St. Peter and no pearly gates. Thank God, no fire and brimstone. Just some vast space. I can hear music. Sounds like Celine Dion, that song from Titanic. Now that voice is certainly angelic. Maybe this is him. I don't see anyone from the past. Actually, I don't see anyone. There's a fragrance of lilacs, something from my childhood, and the taste of dark chocolate. I sense a warm tropical breeze, all very reassuring, not to worry. So I am beginning a journey. Reminds me of the Twilight Zone. Stick around, I'll keep you posted. This is not what I had in mind.
Thanks, Stephen. That's good. Our next poet is someone who is a very good friend of mine. We have published a couple books together. We're over on the author's table. And he's not with us today. He usually is, but he's preparing for a major surgery. And so he's making sure he stays safe. Please welcome Joe Malash.
Joe!
So this poem is called I Am the Ash Keeper. In the drought year that marked Patsy's decline, I drove her to the Anzo Borrego Desert. Parking outside the alluvial fan of an arroyo, I helped her climb a dirt mound beside the stream. Patsy sat on a rock in a clump of boulders. Her feet rested on a stone slab, twice the size of a frisbee. Behind her, a desert agave stood, its stalk higher than 5 feet. Beside it grew the cat's claw. Its fire-red blooms matched the sun's color. On her right stood a yucca in bloom. Winding up the hillside, the stream vanished into oaks, and on the horizon's cloud thickened over Granite Peak. It's been 10 years since I saw her there, but how I can see her now. Her white blouse embroidered with blue flowers. She sat with her arms crossed, her mouth slightly open, and the raw, hot wind blew sand into her hair. Cancer and heat worked together, and the circles under her eyes darkened. Lifting her chin, she revealed her beauty, as red as her blood and brown as her eyes. Each day she grew slimmer, like a migrant crossing the desert becomes thin from a sun-dried thirst. Feeding life, water became holy, and Patsy saw the dried flowers and yellow weeds as a promise of life after rain. I watched her as a shaft of sunlight crossed the arroyo behind her, and higher up, buzzards rode the updraft. Coming down the canyon, the wind shook the leaves above her. She ignored her hair and shoulders becoming dusty as she sat near the olive and bay shrubs. I could hardly look at her without thinking about the smooth pasture of her thigh or the fine veins crossing her ankle. Barefooted when she died, she left a rustling sound of the breeze passing through leaves. A grayness seeped into her cheek as her mother and blood sister washed her according to their rituals. Today, I place Patsy's ashes into her curio, and around the base I wrap her belt. The bronze buckle was stamped with an image of Smokey the Bear. Holding a shovel, he stands beside a campfire. I hang her prayer beads on the urn. Near it, I place a picture of Patsy and remember kissing her when she sat pale and lovely in the desert. I am the ash keeper. Thank you.
have to be on your toes when you have someone like him as your friend. I'm negotiating with this agency over a contract, and I called him. And I said, there's a word in this contract language I don't understand, that's founding. What does that mean? He says, well, I don't know what founding means, but I know what founder means. And so you just have to keep your feet on the ground around stuff like that. This next lady comes to my workshops, and I think she should be teaching poetry now. You signed up for the San Diego State MFA program?
I signed up.
Oh, they're gonna take you. They're gonna take you. Please welcome Janice Alper.
Hey, Jim. Do you mind if I ask Joseph what his upcoming surgery is?
Hip replacement.
Oh. Take care. I don't think he heard. Okay.
Hip replacement, John.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I just had one.
Oh, well, Joe, I'll bring you some chicken soup.
Okay.
Okay, like Joe, I'm a widow 10 years, maybe 10 years, and for some reason, I can't stop writing about my husband, and I asked someone about it, and she said, just keep writing till you're finished, so I'm gonna start a volume called What Every Widow Knows. But this is on the serious side. This is inspired by a poem, from a poem by David White. Darkness is my home, place of memory. There are still two of us, clinging together like a clump of grapes, oozing the nectar of love. In the darkness, the light is brightest. Striations cast giant shadows across time and space. In darkness, silence, laughter, tears, feisty. A window to the future, to life, where you and I are invincible. This darkness, this room is safe, warm, cozy, fragile. The darkness envelops me, strengthens me, frees me to face another day without you. And I know many of you probably get a poem a day from the poets, from the Academy of Poets. And the newsletter this week had a poem by Maya Angelou, which just really inspired me. It was called I Rise. I wrote a poem called Shall I Rise? Which of course is inspired by one of my favorite poets of all time, Maya Angelou. I've been on this earth more than 29,000 days, 984 months, in excess of 718,000 hours. What do I have to show for it? Figure it out, but take a couple of years. What is my legacy? Who will remember me? Who will tell my stories, recite my poems, put a stone on my grave? I huddle in a cocoon of covers, contemplate. Shall I rise to confront? Shall I rise to confront disappearing habitats, homelessness, poverty, drone strikes, earthquakes, another senseless shooting, faces of children who go to bed hungry? Yes, old girl, I say, rise, rise up. Put on your shoes, your hat, venture out to a whirling world in turmoil. Add your name, your voice, sign one more petition. Every one of us counts, and you ain't dead yet. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doc. I'm sorry.
Are you ready for the teacher? Yeah. He is bilingual. He might be in Tijuana, and that's all the energy you have for her. Are you ready for the feature? Dolores and our sister that became a minister about it was when I had hair. And I thought that was you. I saw her at Claire de Lune's back in the 90s, and she was part of a sister's trio. There might have been 4 of them, and they rocked that room. And she was one of the reasons that happened. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Olga Gutierrez Garcia is a talented poet, physicist, and mathematician, born in Torreon, Mexico, and editor of the bilingual anthology Anuario de Poesía de Santiago Imagine. She's a member of the San Diego Haiku Study Group. As Enriqueta Luisi, she has written the novel El Peso de los Ovarios, The Weight of the Ovaries, and 8 books of poetry, including Ostrich Sky, In Vitro, Poetica Mathematica, and Reversed. She has graced the mic in many San Diego and Baja poetry events. I think you'll all agree with me that she's definitely going to grace the mic today. This is Olga Garcia.
Hello to everybody. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Yes, 4 to the ends. We were 4 poets, Dolores, Megan, Kelly, and I. Different ages, different places from origin, and lots of poetry. I'm very pleased to be here today. I want to dedicate my reading to my family members and friends that more than 40 of them that died since the beginning of the pandemic. And I would like to mention especially my friend, poet friend, Mark Weiss, and my cousin, Cecilia, who died just recently. I am very honored to be here with my hermano en poesía, Jim Moreno, for having me today and for so many memories that we have shared together in poetry events. Jimmy Collins is always in my mind. I remember all the time I spent with him, all the talkings I did. The last time I saw him was in Balboa Park, and I am so happy to see that his spirit, thanks to all the poets that are here, still grows bigger and touches us very much. Well, I will start with this poem. Today, ayuno lechuzas, ayuno varitas mágicas, ayuno hospital de muñecas. Today, I am fasting on owls. I am fasting on magic wands. I am fasting on a doll's hospital. Credo. I believe in the communion of the Holy Spirit and Higgs boson. Creo en la comunión del Espíritu Santo y el bosón de Higgs. I believe in hyperspace and in the purification of wrinkles. In the immaculate conception of the whip-tailed lizard, I believe. En la inmaculada concepción de la lagartija, cola de látigo, creo. Creo in the loneliness of irrational numbers. I believe in the priapism of pterodactyls when you kiss me. En el priapismo de los pterodáctilos cuando me besas. I believe in the liposuction of the New Testament, del Nuevo Testamento. I believe in the youth of the Turing machine, la máquina de Turing, la juventud de la máquina de Turing. I believe in Mycobacterium tuberculosis. In Mycobacterium tuberculosis, I believe. I believe in sex, without sex. and without latex. Creo en el sexo, sin sexo y sin látex. I believe in the perfume of polynomials with complex roots. Perfume, el perfume de los polinomios con raíces complejas. I believe in the hurricane's demon. I believe in that night. I believe in that night, in that thunder, in that thunder, in that gasp. Creo en aquella noche, en aquel relámpago, en aquel relámpago. I believe without believing in me in such a way. I believe that I believe because I don't believe. Creo sin creer en mí y de tal manera creo que creo porque no creo. Creo sin creer en mí y de tal manera creo que creo porque no creo. Enormes mariposas de alas negras se posaron, dulces, suaves, en el welcome ante la puerta. Huge black winged butterflies, huge black winged butterflies settled, sweet and soft, by the welcome doormat. It was then that I knew, fue entonces que supe, it was then that I knew my mother would die that day. Fue entonces que supe, mi madre moriría esa tarde. It was then that I knew my mother would die that day. Yes, yes, yes. In spite of getting undressed without touching each other, in spite of the smell of octopus sashimi in the mouth, in spite of zero acrobatics and stale kisses, in spite of 2 or 3 fake and faltering, I want you. In spite of having in our thoughts our dead mothers, a pesar de tener siempre en la mente a nuestras madres muertas, we were happy that our guardian angels had left us alone. Contenta de que los ángeles de la guarda nos hubieran dejado solas. Drained. To be true and not true for the nucleotide that recites against me its syncopated pus. Tomorrow I'll sing the truth does and does not exist. How many times must I deny the nucleotide sperm on me for dark matter to shine? How many times must I deny the nucleotide sperm on me for dark matter to shine? Where is Emily to dirty my hands? Telomeres say we have truth. I crisscross its axis. I crisscross its axis. The moon is ashes. I'm showered with chocolate almond toffee. I'm showered with chocolate almond toffee. I keep the scissors by my side. The scissors by my side. I drain words. I drain words. Tomorrow, I will speak of love. I will read some haiku, and the traditional way to read them is read the 3 lines, whenever they have 3 lines, twice. Winter moon on my open hands, a quiet prayer. Winter moon on my open hands, a quiet prayer. Sunny day, the neighbor's fence, gone. Sunny day, the neighbor's fence, gone. The mountain and I just a second ago, whole. the mountain and I, just a second ago, hold. Alongside the relentless desert, my sipping of margaritas. Alongside the relentless desert, my sipping of margaritas. And from my book, Emily, I will read some poems from this one. It's dedicated to Emily Dickinson. Emily, in formaldehyde, we become single, two-headed fetus. In formaldehyde, with a comb hairpin and castanet, we faked love. En formol, con peineta y castañuelas, fingimos amor. I was faking it, just like you. I was the slaughterhouse, the quake in Nepal, the deaths on Everest, and the strain of the parents of 43 students gone missing. Yo era el matadero, el terremoto en Nepal, los muertos en el Everest, y el deambular de los padres de los 43 estudiantes desaparecidos. I was the shattering of the sun, a Riemann space. I was rust and void. I was Goya in dark paintings and Francis Bacon in ovaries. At sunrise, you were my mother and I your baby. Karma, karma, karma. Tú eras mi madre y yo tu baby. Karma, karma, karma. En un sitio matemático repetimos lo que de todo amante se espera. In a mathematical space, we repeated what every lover hopes to hear. The flock of lies, a horde of masks and adrenaline, a band of pirates with a hanging tooth, a heap of decanted trash. Who cares that we started with rain and finished without sun? It seems no one cares that thousands are swallowed by the sea, and that millions don't mind being fed fear cakes. It seems no one cares that thousands are swallowed by the sea, and that millions don't mind being fed fear cakes. It seems that no one cares for the word care, or for our wrinkled labia, or the shivering in the closet. Pareciera que a nadie le importa la palabra importa, ni nuestras labias arrugadas, ni el titiritar en el closet. Or for the vomiting of missiles and the desolation in sewers. It seems no one cares for my crush on you. Emily, born zombies, we die zombies. Over thousands of skulls, the smell of pickled cabbage is sad. Sobre miles de cráneos, el olor a col en salmuera es triste. At the smoke's end, I am not after the happy meal anymore. Only calcium-depleted bones, my dear. Solo huesos sin calcio, querida. It's 4 in the morning. Today, I shall go to Mass. I shall ask for your humble tongue, Emily. I shall ask for the silence of marketing. Oh, iré a misa. Pediré por tu humilde lengua. Pediré por el silencio del marketing. I shall ask for the biopsy of God. Pediré por la biopsia de Dios. What more can one ask from paradise? What more can one ask from paradise? Some puffed rice, a geisha fun, saving the planet, My dear, the picking of cotton turns to plastic. The pre-chant disrupts hormones, mummifies teeth. What else exists in paradise? Testicles of a brave girl? Reflections of dust upon the Nile waters? A dash of sesame on the placenta? Emily, you that have seen it all. The exactness of pie, poetry. And I want to end this with his reflection and maybe three little haikus. It is very, has been very inspiring and very, very emotional for me to be here listening to all the poets before me. And I hope also, I know that the future ones that are going to read after me. I wanted to thank you all for this reading. And I have been in the past months, I was walking my daughter's dog and I fell and I broke my hip bone. The doctor said that I would take like a year for me to be perfect or better, 9 months to be able to walk. But thank God I did it in 5 months. I didn't need the wheelchair, nor the walker, nor the cane to walk. And I just came from Mexico City. It was the first time out in the pandemic. I went in a trip. And I was very, very happy to be reading at the same place and by my side to Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, our Mexican most important and impressive poet in our language. So I'll finish with this 3 haiku that I wrote about my fall. A cane, a walker, and a wheelchair, my new friends. A cane, a walker, and a wheelchair, my new friends. Plucked out by his hairy hand, my thigh staples. Plucked out by his hairy hand, my thigh staples. At 70, mesmerized again at my first steps as a 1-year-old. At 70, mesmerized again at my first steps as a 1-year-old. Muchas gracias. Bendiciones. Paz to everybody. Thank you very much.
Olga Gutierrez Garcia, can we give her some 9-second company love for that? Between the liposuction of the New Testament and the cinnamon on the placenta, I think you said that was quite a range. Thank you very much. And Olga, I have a haiku for you about your fall. I understand it's very famous haiku, not only in Japan, but worldwide. And so I think you lived this haiku just now with your poetry. It goes like this: leaf fall from tree, butterfly. Mariposa. Eres un mariposa hermosa. Gracias. All right. How y'all doing? Y'all okay?
Yeah.
Good.
You getting your money's worth? Okay, well, I need to talk a little bit about the artists that are on both sides of this room. Jimmy would want me to do that. Over here, we have Brandon Flowers. And if you, after this is over, we kind of hang out after the poetry is over. We just kind of hang out. And if you want to talk to people about their influences or their work habits or whatever, we just hang out, get some more coffee, whatever. But you can also walk up to this art And I'm not sure, Alfred, what do we call that doohickey there that's on Brandon's thing where they can put their cell phone on it? What's it called?
QR
The
code.
QR
A QR code, thank you. So each artist has a QR code. I know I'm a dinosaur, I know that. So each artist has a QR code up there, and they're all part of the southeastartteam.com, Southeast Art Team. So you can go on their website, you can check them out. If you
That
really
was
like
good,
some
that
of this
really
art, please support them. And over here by the counter, he has an explanation of some of the art. He's really strong in Black history in Africa, and so please, support the artists. If we come over here, we're looking at V. Brooks. It's over here. She has one of those little doohickeys on her thing as well. And then there's Winston Shaw over here. So this big painting back here, that's one of Jihmye Collins. That's not for sale. That's always going to be here as long as we're here, I hope. And so support these artists, please. And we also want to remind you, if you have published a CD or a book, please put it on the author's table when this is all over. Go over there, look at the books. If you want to purchase and support the poet, please do. And how about we give a hand for Jihmye Collins for training us to remember this. Everyone. Our next poet is a Vietnam veteran like myself. He is my next door neighbor, actually he is behind me. And he's a man who comes from a long history of long distance runners, Native American long distance runners. As a matter of fact, when his helicopter was shot down in Cambodia, he outran the Khmer Rouge. They chased him for about 2 miles, firing at him, and then he ran to another country. And he's alive and well and with us. And this is Michael Turner.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. It's been a great winter. I've been hibernating and now get ready for doing bear dance soon here. Yay, barefoot. Yeah. I'm just gonna read one poem today by a really good poet that I really have a lot of respect for, even though he's passed, it's been a while. But he had experienced some trauma, broke his back and stuff, and I probably had some phenomenological experiences like me. So that's why I kind of gravitated towards his work. And this poem is called Because My Hands Hear the Flowers Thinking. I scooped up the moon's footprints, but the ground climbed past with the sky, and the dove and the bent vapor. The other half of clinging together wove by. In the breath of the willows, fall in, saying eagle, ox, ferret, and emerald arch. We too must learn to live here, to use what we are, a fall in now. For only love is community of various likenesses, none unless one love. In the lone lion leaf of the sunshade spreading over a father's road, when we love, God thinks in us. And in that home going time, we see with the eyes of grass, and in the tree, hear our own voices speak. So gently, I say, that sleep is the street releasing key to the world. Our lives are watching us, but not Earth. got me to, understand my learning disabilities better. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Pete, have you been with us before?
No, it's
Pete
first time.
Campbell? This is his first time with us? So let's give him a warm second time welcome. This is Pete Campbell.
I wish there was just one bird in the world whenever it flew over, everyone would look up. It's flying. What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? Oh, what if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? Hey, what if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? Oh, what if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? What if one were to allow for the experience of being cold? The experience of being cold. There's two kind of drunks. Hot wire drunks and gutter drunks. Them hot wire drunks is all full of themselves. But what they ain't got is a self to be full of. They's empty. Nothing but air. They drink to fill themselves up. Ain't no limit because there ain't nothing else there. They's good at hiding that big old empty shell. All it is a big old empty shell. Just a skin sack. There's some bones to hold them up. I call them high wires because they always up there. Always up there without no net. No fear, it seems to most. Help seems to me. Always had me fooled. They it's real good at that. Balancing on that rope and being loaded. Man, what a thing to watch. Now them gooder drunks, all they got is mouths. They thirsty. They ravenous thirsty. Ain't got no time for daylight. Too busy crawling around in the bushes. They's always running into light poles and smashing their heads into glass. They's down low where it's safe, out of the spotlight. Can't nobody see him down there. Ain't never seen such a thirsty thing. Can't be no desert that's bigger than what they got inside. I call them gutter drunks because that's where you usually find them thrown away like trash. Dirty. Used. Begging. Begging for something they can't never get. Now them high wires, they got lots to lose and a long way to fall. But them gutter drunks, man, they ain't got nothing to lose. And with nothing to lose, you got everything to find. That's why they searching in the gutter for something they ain't never had. Something ain't never belonged to them. They ain't never belonged to nobody or nothing. Yes, why they feel at home in the gutter. They feel at home with all that trash. I suppose I can't really say which one I'd rather be or which one is worse. I think it's both pretty bad. Them high wires is some anxious fucks. So good at hiding. I never did trust one of them. I have to say that. As stinking and as trashy as they was always something kind of real about them gutter drunks. When they wasn't fully lit, there was something there. Yeah, it was a bag of broken bones like them high wires, but they didn't have nothing to prove, nothing to hide. Everyone knows a gutter drunk when you see one, but them high wires, man, they's probably flying your plane right now, or driving your bus, or taking out your appendix, or drilling your teeth. Lit, loaded, bent, but making it work. Making it work. Damn. Like I said, some of the bunch all right. I suppose they's everywhere, hiding in plain sight. All of them walking on a wire. Terrified. Someone's gonna notice. Notice they ain't got no net. Notice them wobbling. About to fall. Always. Just about to fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Our next book was the saying, I'm gonna introduce you differently. I always say you're the beat poet of this, the beat poet of that, but he's the beat poet of a lot. He really is. And he's a man who back in the day, back in the 90s, when he would go up to the microphone and I was new at this, people would shout out lines of his poems. Because they love the way this man writes. I love the way he writes too. This is Chris Fenoy.
All right. Nice one, Pete.
Yeah.
This is called Clone 2000. I am he who you made, creation of sapient, a thing to be harvested, a thing to be sold, a slave, product of genetic engineering, a slave for pure procreation, and your life extension. My home is a 5x7 bio-life system substance chamber, the exact one in which I was conceived. They say my waking was a mistake, their mistake, and they say they are sorry. They say I am to be terminated as unviable material. They say I have been corrupted. The processes of my existence are copyrighted. I am owned by Cybergen. Their lawyers argue that I am property like an iPhone, property like a chair, like a spoon. Hey, you, get off my bench. That's my bench. It's got my name right there. See? Young fellow like you nowadays can't find their own place to sleep at night. Right there it says Chris Van Hoy. Right there, a man has to sleep where his name is, don't he? He says as he unrolls his blanket on the bench. Man remembers bed with silken sheets and a warm woman laying cradled beside him. He says, as he lays upon the beach bench, went to sleep, woke up with wine. Now I'm here, I lay my head here all the time, he said. He makes a pillow of the excess blankets, a bench for a bed, and dreams too light and me to sleep, he says as he closes his eyes. We're gonna have a musician that's going to play for us. How is there after this poetry book? Is that over on the table? It is. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. That's what this is all about. Well, not everything, a lot of it. So we have one more poet left, and then we have a musician that I think is gonna really entertain you. And so this young man showed up somewhere in the last 10 years, and he's always come back. This is Alistair McLean.
Wow. That's what McLean for.
Get good help nowadays.
That's fiction writing. He wrote Guns of Navarone. Alistair McLean.
Yeah, Alice McLean thinks no. So I am very thankful to be here and take my place among you. It's a wonderful thing. This is a little declaration of self, because for very faith-driven reasons, I have been exposed to St. Augustine's Confessions. It's a remarkable piece. From the depths of inexperience, through meditations of no consequence, past unearned vanities and unpaid rent, he yet emerges bloodied but unbent. I am a warrior. I am a mystic. I am a sinner. I confess. I pray. I rage. I cry. I repent. I am a warrior. A warrior is not one who kills. That's not what a warrior is. A warrior is one who knows his own weakness and fear, masters himself, and then puts his strength and courage to work for something that matters. I am a warrior. I have just begun to fight. Now, I'm going to sing you a song since people are already telling me I'm singing. This is very kind, because I enjoy it. Sure, find it here. This is a song I'm sure you all know well. It was written by Pete Seeger, and if you've sing something by Pete Seeger, you can't possibly go wrong. Interestingly enough, this song, like most of the songs that I picked, has been covered by everybody. But I was quite surprised to learn when I did some research that this song has been covered by, among others, Marlene Dietrich in German, Otis Redding, and best of all, Bernie Sanders, who made an album in 1987. Did anybody else know that? No. Who the hell knew that? It's called We Shall Overcome. The album. Yes. Anyway, I've always had a sort of grudging admiration for Bernie, but now that he's written a book which says it's okay to hate capitalism, he's my man. So this is a song by Pete Seeger. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Please do sing along. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them every one. When will they ever? Where have all the young girls gone? Long time asking, where have all the young girls gone? Where have all the young girls gone? Stand by everyone, when will they? When will they? Where have all the young men gone? Long time asking, where have all the young men gone? Long time ago, and the soldiers, everyone, when will they learn? When will they learn? Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time asking, where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago, where have all the soldiers gone? On the graveyards, everyone, when will they? Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time asking, where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago, where have all the graveyards gone? On the flowers, everyone, when will they return? When will
Thanks for turning this into a hootenanny. And if you remember that, you're really old. That's true. I remember they converted this old dance studio in Orlando when I was in high school, and they converted it into a hootenanny place. And in the wintertime, I put on my turtleneck sweater. Remember those? We go down and we listen to those songs by Peter, Paul, and Mary, Pete Seeger, and everything. Thank you for that vibe. Thank you. Let's give him some more love for that. I work for Mid-City Community Music, and I go into juvenile hall and I teach poetry to the kids that are in gangs. I was there this morning for a couple classes. This young man is a new musician that came to our staff meeting. His name is Gonzo Reyes. And he's gonna come up and play the guitar for us. So this is his first time with us, so can you give him a warm welcome?
So, I could explain, I'm gonna do a little of both. Before I was admitted to music, I was actually a music teacher in K-12 for many years. And I was very lucky to be able to teach poetry as well. So, one of the things that I fell in love with, and one of the reasons why I left the K-12 world, is because I wanted to make sure that the arts had their place. Yes. As a teacher, I'm tired of, oh my God, it's so important. Everybody must have it. Oh, we don't have money. Sorry, you're cut. Yeah. So I wanted to make a difference in that. And one of the things that I decided to do is to try to become a performing artist so I can have a microphone and have a voice to advocate for that.
All right.
And before, I had to preface that by saying, this poem was actually written for my class because it was one of the things that I wanted to teach them. So this is my poem called Be Bold. If this stays up. I got it. I'm a singer, I'm gonna do. Be bold. Autentes fortuna ivat. What is that? Those are words to live by. And let me drop some knowledge on why. In Latin, it means, that is telling you, fortune favors the bold. Something to remember next time you get told the words you can't, you're not, you will fail. It's no secret that this man before you is old, and this was written for teenagers. But that doesn't make me less bold. No, I know better, because like the devil, I know more because I'm older, wiser, and still living in my endless fairy tale. So sit down, young blood, because I'm here to show you the ways of all the haters. Because when you have them, you know you are no longer the student, you are now the educator. That being said, Olga actually, thank you. Olga inspired me to, I was gonna come in here and try to, what we got? As the true musician does, but I decided to go something thanks to her that I love. This is what I grew up with my mom. She was some peace. She introduced me to this kind of music, and so I'll do it. Aturdido y anulado por la duda de los celos, en la cantina un bohemio jazz, con los nervios destrozados y llorando, atormentado por la engaña que se ve siempre acompañado del amor de los amigos. Me acompaña y le dice, ya está nada me algo mucho más tu corazón. Y una noche como un loco mordió la copa de vino ante filo que en su boca después y la sangre que brotaba hundióse con un vino y en la cantina se gritó a todos se estremeció. No te apures, compañero, si me destrozo la boca. No te apures, que es que quiero con el hilo de esa copa borrar la huella del beso traicionero. Mozo, sírveme la copa destroza esta piel. Mozo, si bebe una copa rota que quiero sangrar, pero de su amor. Y una noche como un loco, murió loco padrino, tan tranquilo que su boca desnuda y la sangre que brotaba ese vino, y en la cantina escrito a todos estremeció. No te apures, compañero, si me destrozo la boca. No te apures, que es que quiero con el filo de esta copa borrar la huella del beso traicionero que me dio. Oso, ay, la copa rota, sírveme que me destroza esta piel de muchísimo. Mozo, ay, sírveme la copa rota, te quiero sangrar. El veneno de su amor.
Chairman, for the final poem I'm going to read, if you would back me up. This is completely unrehearsed, so we're either gonna fall on our face or it's gonna be awesome. Go for it.
And my answer was, isn't that what poetry is?
Yeah.
So we want to leave you with a good feeling. Remember, if you want to hang out afterwards and have some more coffee, whatever, talk to a poet about, hey, what's going on? What's your influences? Whatever, please do that. And this is a poem. It's not one of mine. It's by Naomi Shihab Nye, and it's called Gate A4. Now, this is not how the world is, but this is how I think Gonzo and I would like the world to be. And I think since you are my America, I think you want the world to be this way too. Let's do it. I think we should start with guitar. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma, she crumpled to the floor, wailing. Help, said the flight attendant. Talk to her. What is her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late. She did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke halting. Shudawa, Shubiduk, Habib, Stani Shway, Min Badlik, Shubitsi. The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, no, we're fine. You'll get there. Just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call him. We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mom till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons. Her other sons. Just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad. He and she spoke for a while in Arabic. Found out, of course, they had 2 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets? Poets I know. And let them chat with her. This all took 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade maboul cookies, little powdered sugar, crumbly mounds, stuffed with dates and nuts. They were in her bag, and he was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrifice. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo. We were all covered with the same powdered sugar, smiling. There is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers. And 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it. They were covered with powdered sugar too. And I noticed. My new best friend. By now, we were holding hands. Had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves, such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary one, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in. The shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookie. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is wrong. Constantly. Love for our feature, please. Let's give her some love. There it is, Garcia. Please hang out with us. God bless you. You are my America. We'll see you next month. God bless.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's go.